Most of the automobile companies in Japan own their dealership. Did you know that?
Yes.
Well, most of them are owned by the dealership. So you have a dealership somewhere, but it's owned by the manufacturer. It's not Jim Smith Chevrolet, and Jim Smith's family owns the Chevrolet, and he's a franchisee. He buys from General Motors, obviously, his Chevrolet. There's not independent, they're own stores here. With that own store characteristics, they can set up training programs for their dealers, because their dealers are an internal subsidiary, right? Not an independent company. And in the United States, as you know, they'll have multi-franchise. So I'll have a Toyota dealership, he'll have a Chevrolet dealership, he'll have a Porsche dealership, and that's what you call a mega dealer. So he's multi-franchise. So I, as a manufacturer, I don't want to train him because he's selling other brands too, not my brand. But in Japan, the retail store is owned by the manufacturer, and they sell only that brand. So they provide a lot of training for salesman training, service training, parts training, all kinds of training there. And top management within Isuzu Motors said, we want to provide that same kind of training around the world to our dealers. Armed with that, and by the way, in those days, General Motors owned 30% of Isuzu Motors.
Right.
So we're selling through an Isuzu truck, an Isuzu vehicle would sell through a General Motors channel, they would sell through their own international channel, and they would sell for, it was a joint venture with General Motors handling the developing world. And this is strictly complete vehicles sold. Others may be assembly plants, and you're assembled overseas. And you had these three channels. Now those channels had to have some kind of sales skills to sell the product. And when you go through this long chain of, you've got a main manufacturer, he sells to assembler, the assembler has local content in there from the local country, he sells to a dealer, within the dealer, the dealer owner doesn't sell the vehicle, the dealer owner's employee, his salesman, sells the vehicle. And that is the only guy that talks to the user. Now, how do I get this salesman over here, the retail salesman, to sell to the user? How do I get him to know the product and find the customer and find out who the competitor is? The manufacturer wanted to offer him training. So you cut through all this chain and you go right to the salesman who sells to the user. That's what I did. And that's what took me to over 60 countries worldwide.
Wow.